right. Hi. How are
Hi,
you?
welcome.
Welcome to our December wine club tasting.
Yes, we're focusing in on South Africa.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. South Africa is a region, or as a country, but as a wine region or wine area, it's old. I mean, they've been growing grapes and producing wine in South Africa since the middle of the 17th century. And actually, one of the farms we're going to talk about has been a working agricultural property since like the 1650s.
That is just
which is pretty amazing. Right.
Yeah.
The name's changed a couple times, but that's all right. So they're really, European settlers that went into South Africa and took wine grapes with them and have been growing grapes for a long time there and producing wines, reds and whites and rosés and all styles. We have come to really enjoy some interesting South African wines over the time. We don't see as many of them as we do other places.
Right.
But that's really, there are plenty of them out there. We just have to look for them.
Yes.
And once you know to look for them, then you can find them.
Yes.
So, yeah, by all means. We're going to start today with a grape that's near and dear to our hearts, particularly yours,
Yes.
which is a little Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes.
There you go.
And I will say that my knowledge of South African wines is limited to Chenin Blanc,
Okay.
which I don't think they even call it Chenin Blanc. There's more Chenin, right? Or
Well, they
Steen.
call it Steen most often.
And then Pinotage.
And Pinotage, right. And we'll talk a little bit about Pinotage just because it's probably the red most associated with South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in California, they have adopted sort of Zinfandel is typically a California varietal, right? We don't see Zinfandel from many other places. Pinotage is typically a South African varietal, and that's because it originated in South Africa.
Okay.
It's a grape that was created by a gentleman who spent a lot of time in the world of creating grape crosses. It's not a hybrid per se because both its parents are Vitis vinifera, so it's just a cross, right? But its parents are well-known grapes.
Okay.
So Pinotage's parents are Pinot Noir, so Pinot.
Yeah.
And Taj, I don't know where they got the Taj from, but it actually, the other parent grape is a grape called Cinsault, which is a classic French varietal as well. And it produces a much bigger wine in general than either of its parents, which is quite interesting, right? And we're going to have a little Cinsault today in our rosé when we get there.
Ooh,
but
wonderful.
so we think of South Africa often as Pinotage world, as Steen or Chenin Blanc world, but they certainly grow a wide variety of products. Many of the grapes that we see, many of the wines out of South Africa are from the area of the Western Cape. So if you look at the country of South Africa, right at the bottom of the continent of Africa, and then you look to the western side, sort of from center over is the majority of the wine production region, and in the southern half of the country. So the Western Cape is that area down there. All of these wineries that we're going to taste, all four of these are from the Western Cape.
Okay.
Some further west than others, and some a little closer to the coast than others. But they're south of the equator, their coastal influence is different. Mountain ranges surround many of these, or right along the coast for a lot of these, so you don't have quite as much maritime influence. So all of these wineries are considered to be what they call continental. It's a continental influence, not a maritime influence. So many of them relatively dry, and cool winters and warm summers. But relatively almost Mediterranean because of where they are.
Okay.
Right.
But elevation. So it has some elevation.
Some elevation. Most of them are plateau. So the vineyards are surrounded by mountains in many cases, but they're not necessarily on the mountain. They're more in the area that's not mountainous, but it's not again coastal. Right. Higher elevation than we are.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, so in our glass, our first producer here, this is Fountain of Youth, Sauvignon Blanc from Oak Valley.
Okay.
So this winery was started, the property was originally purchased by a gentleman who moved to South Africa, or immigrated to South Africa from England, and he purchased property and was out exploring the land that he had purchased without having seen it all at that point. and came upon a spring, a natural spring, and he claimed it to be the purest water ever anywhere. And he loved it so much that he had a pipeline built from that spring across a vast tract of land to the other part of his property where he was going to plant crops, so that he could use that water to water his crops. The area is known for apples and apple production, and they still produce a lot of apples, and they even still produce apples on this property. It was not until the early part of this century, early part of the 19th century, that they started growing grapes here. This is the fourth generation or so family that owns this, and hence the name Fountain of Youth. He termed the original discoverer of said stream and spring, called it the Fountain of Youth, and hence the name. This is one of their products that they call. So a little Sauvignon Blanc for us from South Africa.
Cheers. Ooh, that early founder's name wasn't Ponce de Leon, was it?
Right, you're right. Yeah.
You know, like you were waiting for that.
I was yeah, feeding.
When is she going to say that?
Perfect. So really lovely, and
interesting.
it is interesting. It is not that grapefruit centric that we think of south of the equator, say over in New Zealand, but it's certainly more, to me, French in style.
Oh gosh, yeah, that minerality is so nice.
Minerality is beautiful.
Slate.
But sort of juicy, citrus, kind of almost quincy. There's some lemongrass in there. Really a very pretty style of Sauvignon Blanc. These vines, because of where these grapes grow, they're able to leave these grapes on the vine longer to mature more. So you get really pretty juicy fruit in there, right? It's not just citrus.
No, it is not just citrus. It is very well balanced. There's a nice depth to it.
Has a lovely depth, a nice length. Just a really pretty version of this grape. And really something fun to turn people onto. So if you're a Sauvignon Blanc fan, it's going to probably hit all the marks. Unless you are super grapefruit centric in your desire for that, which is fine. That's what you like. But if you really like sort of that origin style, you think some California, not quite as grassy. You think Loire Valley, but a little juicier, right?
More juicy than the Loire
Valley.
Yes.
They actually leave the grapes on the vine longer than most of the time in France. This particular vineyard, because of their climate and I guess where they sit, it just works well for them. It's not super hot, so they can leave the grapes on the vine a little longer and let them develop even more. Just a lovely style. This is super fun and interesting and different and a great new way to enjoy this grape.
Yeah, lemon meringue pie.
Ooh, lemon meringue pie. Love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's got that body. It's got. What would we pair it with? Oh, God.
So
crab.
I was going seafood right there.
Drawn butter.
How about lobster ravioli in a lemon cream?
Yes.
How about I love the crab and the drawn butter. You could do I almost want like a chicken cordon bleu, maybe. I could do with that. This would have been delicious with roast turkey.
Yes.
This would have been great at the Thanksgiving table. I would have liked this with the roast turkey, the richness, for sure.
Listen to this and see what you say.
Okay.
I'm thinking when I closed my eyes when you said that, I would do a butternut squash sauce.
Oh, yeah.
With a little bit of sage.
Okay.
Serve that with some gnocchi.
Oh, delicious. All day long.
That would be, and do a little parm on top.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
it would be delicious. I think it would, and it would cut the fat, but it's full enough that it's going to stand up. I think that's great. I love that with the butternut squash. I really do. I think that's fantastic. So yeah, wonderful.
That would be so good.
This is a pretty cool weather style of Sauvignon Blanc. So I think you can really enjoy this into the winter months.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh. 2.
So this I've listened to 7 different pronunciations online about this. Okay. So it's almost like it looks. So it's Louingul. Okay. Louingul. I don't know why the K is a G, but apparently it was. I did hear two pronunciations that were Leuenkiel, but majority of them were Leuengoul, so that's where we're going. Okay.
All right.
So Leuengoul is the name of this property. This is the oldest of the properties we're going to talk about today. This property is known in writings and records and legal records of the region from 1650. It was originally, the name originally referred to, it was a different word, but it was similar, but referred to structures. This is how specific this is, but the name translated to structures that are built from reclaimed building materials. So boats were disassembled and used.
Yes.
Found rocks used as foundations. In the late 1700s, the property was acquired by an ancestor of the current family.
Okay.
And was renamed Leuenkuhl, which means lion range.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because the Cape lions ruled in this area and would roam the area and take cattle from the early cattle farmers. And so it's been called that ever since.
Okay.
It's the Leuenkuhl family vineyard, although Leuenkuhl is not that family name. It is still family owned and operated. The current operator and his wife have known each other since they were 16 years old. She grew up on a farm about 3 farms away, whatever distance that is, okay?
Right.
And he inherited half of the property. And they have grown the farm from an original, what his portion was of 25 to 38 hectares to 1,275 hectares. Very successful. They have recently built a brand new wine facility, very up-to-date winery, and producing all kinds of products and a variety of things. This is one of their ranges, and this is their rosé. I think it's the only rosé they actually produce. And as we mentioned earlier, talking about Pinotage and Cinsault, Cinsault is a single varietal that we see more often in South Africa probably than anywhere else outside of France, because it was brought early and it's been used so extensively throughout the country. There's some really old vine Cinsauts throughout South Africa that are really interesting to find and enjoy. This is not old vine, but 100% Cinsault rosé.
Okay.
I
believe that we do have a beautiful Cinsault downstairs in the.
I believe we have a pretty one that is South African in the bodega. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you.
You're fine. So.
And that's a lion on the label.
It is a lion's head on the label. Yep.
Yeah.
Founded 1693. Okay. Under the original name, and then the name was changed in the 1700s.
Wow.
But the family has been on the property ever since then, and it has been an agricultural estate. It has not always produced grapes, but it has always been for commercial use. According to the family, there have always been grapes, even for private use on the property, as long as anybody can remember. And the wife let's see, his name is Willie, and her name escapes me, I'm sorry, but she has done a great deal of research, genealogical research in the area to find the connections with the family and the region. So here we go. Beautiful color, gorgeous rosé.
It really is.
Just really pretty. That's that classic copper.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really see hardly any pink to it. It's very copper.
It is copper.
So cheers.
Cheers to you. Wow. Getting raspberry on the nose. That's pretty.
Really pretty. Again, interesting because I think the style is fuller than it shows, right?
It really is. It's got a great weight.
It really does.
Wow.
That is such a pretty, cooler weather style. For those of you who are not rosé fans because you want something bigger in the glass, well, may I present the Leuenkuhl or Leuengoul rosé 100% Cinsault, because that's gorgeous. Nice weight, a little bit of tannin structure. It's interesting because they talk about enjoy it now, but enjoy for at least 3 years.
Yeah.
So it is a rosé that's meant to stand up to a little bit of time.
Yeah.
It will take a couple of years age and will be just fine. And that's a nod to the style. It's a nod to the grape itself. Cinsault has quite a significant tannin structure by nature. One of the things that it contributes to blends when it's added, when we see it in France in those classic sort of Rhone blends, Grenache, Syrah, Cinsault, Mourvedre,
Right.
It's giving structure and backbone to those blends, and it really certainly has that here. All of their wines are natural fermentation, so they don't add any yeast. It's all natural yeast that they use, and that gives also, according to them, it's the house yeast, right? So it lives in the winery in addition to what's coming in off the grapes. But they claim that it is the reason their wine has the fullness that it has, that it gives a creamy note to it, is that this particular yeast gives a creaminess to it. Really pretty here, just really lovely. This is that style that we like, going into the fall. This would have been a pretty Thanksgiving table wine. This would be pretty at Christmas. Yeah, this is pretty, here you go. Absolutely.
Talk to me about, they've been farming.
Yes.
Since before our country was founded.
Correct.
Right. I mean, we're about to be 250 years old.
You're
so
right.
Just think about that. They've been farming on this land. So biodynamic, or in the sense organic. What do you think their success is?
Well, I think their success is probably tried and true. Somebody in the beginning started and had some knowledge, probably learned from locals what works and what doesn't. Over time, you realize what your rainfall is and what crops are going to grow best for us here.
Right.
They realized relatively, a decent amount of time ago for us, that it was a good area for grapes. You can grow grapes in a lot of places, but if you're growing grapes to produce wine specifically, that's different and different requirements than growing grapes for table grapes to eat, right? You're looking for different things. You want grapes that make wine to struggle. You can't make it too easy for them.
Right.
For lack of a better word, the grapes get lazy.
Heard, yes.
Okay, so if the grapes aren't struggling, then you're not getting the best qualities out of the fruit. So you don't want too much water. You don't want the soil to be really rich and full of nutrients. You want it to be generally hard scrabble and rocky and poor nutrients and not great water. They need to struggle a little bit. These are bush vines. Okay. So these are all bush vines, and a lot of bush vines in this region, particularly Cinsault, for whatever reason. I think it was because it was easy in the beginning, and also it has to do with the climate there. And I don't know if it's because of wind or helping preserve moisture by keeping them closer to the ground. But bush vines meaning that the vines are trained to be little bushes versus long and viney and on trellises, right? So being trellised, they're left as bushes. It makes it, which generally leaves you with hand harvesting most of the time, which is fine. There's a lot to be said for that, for sure. And these grapes, this particular vineyard is not super old. I think these are about 35-year-old grapes, but 20 to 35, I think, is the vineyards here. But again, all bush trained, and they don't do a great deal of irrigation. They are a believer in sort of let nature take its course, right down to the fact that they don't even add any other yeast other than what's there. And so I think it's just know-how and knowledge passed down. Like I said, they have the family is intricately involved but they have other people that have been with them for a long time. Their winemaker's been with them a long time. He had extensive knowledge, and again, I think when you have been in a region for, I don't know, 200 years as a family growing on a piece of land, you know the land, you learn the land, and I think that is what attributes their success here. If you weren't good at it, you wouldn't have been doing it this long, right? You wouldn't have survived this long. So it's just a real nod to their tie to the property, to their tie to the land, to their understanding and knowledge of what they're doing to produce quality product. And they have a whole series of stuff. They make a decent amount of product now. Their new winery facility is very large, and it really amps up their ability to produce. And again, with 1,275 hectares of grapes, you can really produce a lot of fruit.
A lot.
I think it was somewhere around 150 tons of grapes in the last harvest. So that's a whole lot of great production, in a variety of styles and a variety of levels, and certainly a variety of varietals. So there you go. A lovely, again, delicious drinking rosé with great weight to take us into the cool weather.
Yeah, definitely.
I want it with fatty duck confit. And some succulent duck confit with maybe some cherry, dried cherry and onion and raisin and bread pudding, maybe a savory bread pudding with the duck confit would be delicious. I like it with, I would like this again with leftover roast turkey on a salad with pomegranate seeds and a little bit of yummy, sort of funky farmhouse cheese. Okay, something savory, some umami there. I would like this with a mushroom duxelle pate.
I was almost thinking a mushroom quiche or a mushroom. Yes.
Sure.
I was
absolutely.
thinking
And again,
and cream.
maybe some like Swiss cheese or some Gruyere or some Emmental or something. You know, again, and the mushrooms, and I think it will be delicious. Yeah.
Oh, you know, it's the season for raclette.
Oh yeah, sure.
So
all day.
holy moly.
Yeah, absolutely, all day.
Oh.
For sure.
No.
Fondue. Yeah. You make a cheese ball at the holidays. Here you go. Make a lovely cheese ball with some pecans on the outside. Make your grandmother's recipe. You know you've got it in a box somewhere. Pull it out. And this would be beautiful with it. Okay, so if you're looking at South Africa, all right, and you divide it down the middle, and you divide it across, so you divide it into 4 quadrants. This bottom corner is the Western Cape, right? And all of them are in that corner. These two are relatively near each other, closest to the water. And these two are further east, and this one is a little bit further inland. Up towards the center of the country. But anyway, so R62. So 2017 was the previous vintage. The current vintage is 2023. Okay, is the newest vintage, or 24, right? So there is another vintage of it. R22 is named for like Route 66.
Yes.
Okay. R22 is a famous their road runs through wine country. Runs through the wine country. This is a classic Bordeaux blend, as it were, except that they threw a little Syrah in there. Right. So they call it a Bordeaux blend, but really, it's almost more Languedoc-Roussillon or even California, because it's Cab, all right? It's actually 47% Merlot, and then Cabernet Sauvignon, and then some Syrah, and then some Cab Franc.
Wow. Okay. So they've been making wine for quite a long time.
Yes.
Do they have in South Africa the same rules and regulations as they would in France and Italy?
They do not.
And the same,
they do not.
Ironclad rules, or are they a little bit more lenient like California?
They're more lenient like California, which is a nod to how they came to be and what they are, right? it was sort of like the Wild Wild West, but it was the Wild Wild South. Okay, for Europe. It was the Dutch and a variety of other white Europeans who went to the far south of the deepest, darkest continent to make their fortune. So they've never been big fans of rules and regulations. Okay. Sort of similar nod to Australia in that way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Same can be said for California and the rules and regulations. So you don't have the rules and regulations like you have in the traditional European countries of France and Spain and Italy and Germany and Hungary and they all have rules and regulations much stricter in general than what we have in really anywhere else that I know of, right? Any of the New World, none of that exists. And so you kind of include Australia in the New World, because of its youth and settlement. South Africa is old world most of the ways, but it's sort of New World in its sentiment and approach, right? So that's the story there. Not the rules and regulations that we have. You do what you want to. Both of these are blends, not unfamiliar blends that we're used to. Both of them have sort of proprietary names. So this one's called R62, and it's the blend. They also make an R62 that's a Syrah. Okay. Which is interesting because they use the term Syrah, right? Which is the name of the grape in France and north of the equator, but often, certainly in Australia and sometimes in South America, we see the term Shiraz used. And sometimes in South Africa, we see the term Shiraz used. Both terms are used in South Africa to describe the same grape. You'll hear Syrah and Shiraz, depending upon the producer, and maybe sometimes the style. But here, it's Syrah. And so we have, the structure of Bordeaux and that tan structure, but then we have sort of the black fruit and the dark fruit of Syrah, and so the lushness, the plushness of Syrah to add to this.
It really does have that, for sure.
Then we also have a vintage of 17. So we're looking at 5, 6, 7, 8 years now in the bottle. Of product that, so it's had a chance to settle and rest and mature. That sort of softens everybody around the edges, right?
It really does. Yeah, it's plush.
It is plush, but there's plenty of structure to this. It's not flat. It has a nice back end. Everybody likes a nice back end. We like a little back end. Yeah, right.
Pigeon. No.
Right. No. This really is a pretty product, and like I said, he doesn't do this blend every year. He does it when he thinks he can get what he wants out of it, and this really. It's a real testament here that this has held up for this long, and they're still so happy to provide it and put it out there. It's not like it's a sale item that they're trying to get rid of. This they are touting as their current vintage, and still very delicious and drinkable. In a stealth enclosure, I might add, not corked. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. This is 8 years now in the bottle in a stealth enclosure. Okay. And it's fresh and young and beautiful and delicious. So it really goes against all the other, all those sort of stereotypes we have about stealth enclosures, and you can't hold on to wine and they don't last and they don't age. No, that's not true. No. You just have to have the right product. You need to make your wine right to begin with to do that. And if you do that, then it'll hold up and stand the test of time. The Syrah helps it there. It helps give it some structure and length. Really pretty. This is delicious and easy and approachable. I would like this with almost anything this time of year. Great with grilled stuff. If you're still able to get out and use the grill, do it when you can. If you're using the indoor grill, great. Those char marks are super. Something smoky is going to be lovely with this.
I was just about to say smoky. We've been talking about doing maybe ribs for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a smoky rib off of a grill.
Fantastic.
This would be so good with it.
That would be delicious with it. Absolutely.
A little braised short rib.
Oh, yeah. A braised short rib. And if you want to get fancy with it, throw some throw some blackberry puree in your barbecue glaze, just to give it a little of that dark fruit.
Little dark fruit.
You know, and if you're using pork ribs instead of beef ribs, then you know, again, any fruit works beautifully with pork. They really like that. It really works well with it. That sort of, you know, pork tends to be still the closest in flavor profile to game meat. All of our red meats, and so it takes it likes a fruit pairing often, prunes or black. Yeah.
Could you do a venison stew with this?
You could do a venison stew with this all day. If you've got a hunter in your world or you have access to venison, if you like bison, if you are a fan of bison, this is a lovely pair with that. Game meats in general, but you know, I think this would hold up. I think it's not too big to overpower a duck, which is darker meat, right?
I would agree with you.
I think you could certainly do that. Again, we're back to the mushroom thing. This is going to work well with it. Stuffed, braised. This is a braised, you know, pot roast. This is going to work well with. I also think that you could get away with like a classic bolognese. If you did without the super red sauce, if it was more just the meat reduction, would be beautiful with this.
Yeah. Or you do this as a charcuterie pizza.
Oh, I agree. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I'm like smelling this. I'm like, oh,
charcuterie pizza also would like it. I would like it with the peppers and sausage pizza.
Oh, with the peppers.
Yeah, I think I like it with that too.
Yeah, that vegetal. That would be good. Yeah, it really would. But this is really lovely. It's plush, delish.
It is. But for those of you who like a big red, this is going to stand out. There's enough structure to this.
Yeah.
This would work with a steak all day long. So there you go. Our red number one.
Nice.
So we're going to our last wine here. And again, you know, all of these are family owned and operated properties.
Yeah.
That's all that the distributor does is family owned and operated stuff here. The lovely lady who we tasted these with from South Africa just really loves what she does, and it shows. We are Misha. This is probably the youngest of the properties, but it's fourth generation. Okay. All right. And interesting, something I don't do very often, but I did because I found them to be different enough. These are both Bordeaux style red blends. Okay. The one we just had is Merlot predominant, has a little splash of Syrah added. Okay, and is certainly an older vintage. This one, Misha, 2023, and the proprietary name of this particular wine is Accordance.
Okay.
So this is a blend of 3 varietals, predominantly Cab Sauv, whereas the one we just had was Merlot. It has some Merlot and then some Cab Franc. And they make several tiers. This is their estate tier. Andrew Barnes is the 4th generation. And interesting, the family has owned the property for 4 generations now, and it has been an agricultural property, it's been a farm, but it was only upon Andrew's sort of ascension to the head of the estate that they started producing wine.
Really?
Yes. So only in 1999 did they really start growing grapes and producing wine here at the family property.
Okay.
So it's relatively young, relatively new for them.
Okay.
Very small production. They make 1,334 6-packs of this. So they don't make a lot of this. That's not a lot of product.
This is a much larger producer.
Much larger producer. The other
it still tastes very much like a small producer.
Oh, very much so.
What I mean?
It is even though it's large volume, it is hands-on, family run and operated, right? Misha, this is an interesting because not only do they produce wine, they also are one of the largest grapevine propagators and cultivators in the world.
Sorry, this was really good.
It really is good.
I did a little taste before we cheers.
That's quite all right. Yeah, that's quite all right. Cheers, Misha.
Yeah, sorry. It took me off guard. I wasn't expecting it to be that delicious. I just tasted purple. This was so good. Oh, wow. Okay.
It is good. The wines are similar, but quite different enough. This is fresh on the palate, richer, a little richer. Not quite as maybe tannic structured, right? Or the tannins are maybe a little bit more integrated. Slightly softer on the finish, but maybe a little more Rubenesque in the palate. Again, the family is very well known, and the property is very well known for providing high quality vines.
Yes.
For as a nursery, they are a nursery.
Okay.
It was after that they decided to produce their own wines. So they've been a nursery a lot longer than they've been making and growing their own. Then they've been making wine from their own products.
Yes. Okay.
Have been successful in propagating grapes, creating a number of new clones in their world, in that part of the world, creating varietals that work well for them. Again, we are in the Western Cape of South Africa, the most well-known wine-producing region of the country, and where the vast majority of all the wine from South Africa comes from is this sort of quadrant. You can see across what we've just had here a real interesting and wider variety of products than we're used to seeing from South Africa for most of us. It doesn't include Chenin Blanc. It didn't include any Pinotage. It included grapes that we're all familiar with, basically, and excellent versions of that. The Misha is a really lovely product. If you are a Bordeaux fan, if you like a red blend from California or a Napa blend, this is really right up your line. Like I said, Cab, Merlot, and Cab Franc. All the fullness and richness and depth of flavor, easy and approachable, enjoyable by itself. Does not require food, I think. But again, it's going to work with anywhere you would put a Napa Cab, anywhere you would put, a lovely approachable Bordeaux. This is going to fit right in.
I think so.
Yeah.
If I may,
Of course.
when we did the Omen,
Yes.
the folks that enjoy that so much, I think would also enjoy this.
Oh, I agree. I think you're right. We've talked about this in the past. Red blends are still the fastest growing category, still the number one category of red wine by the glass consumption in this country. They're the fastest growing category of red wine off the shelf in grocery stores, and still are. It is the largest section you see in most grocery stores now in the red wine department is red blends. A lot of that has to do with the palate and what we like and what people enjoy.
Yes.
They like something a little fruit forward sometimes. But it's just it's people realizing that they can express themselves and enjoy what they like. They don't have to drink what everybody tells them they should drink. You drink what you want, and drink what you like and like what you drink. And that's sort of the only rule I have when it comes to wine, really. And I think this fits in that category. It is a red blend of grapes that we know.
Right.
There's nothing unusual or scary or unknown about this. It is well made. It is family owned and operated. It is small production, and it's affordable.
And it's delicious.
And it is absolutely delicious. It fits the bill of almost everything that you're looking for. This would be a great item to turn on your friends and neighbors at the holidays. Show them you've learned something, that you've found something new and exciting, that you know a little bit about South Africa now, and just the quality level that they can reach. And again, very affordable. I mean, none of these are ridiculously priced. These are easy and approachable, and available for you right downstairs at the bodega, for sure.